with an operation like this, it all fits. I work shift work, I work for the City of Athens Fire Department, so I work 24 hours on and 48 hours off. So that allows me a lot of time. Farming really fits in well with that. It's just a matter of moving this netting, and I can come out here and within an hour have sheep checked and water tanks moved and new netting put up and be done. They make an excellent add to already existing livestock farms because a lot of those infrastructure is already in place. You can add some sheep right in with some cattle and not even know the sheep's there. Efficiency of these animals to harvest forage is tremendous. The return on investment is the equipment's less. It doesn't cost as much to put in a handling system for sheep. Mineral feeders, water tanks, all that stuff is less money basically than what you need for any other species. And they're going to take the same forages that you have and harvest them and turn them into more pounds of product than what you can get. And you're going to get a bigger dollar return on that product because the lamb brings you a higher price. There's lots of different options in marketing with lamb. When we started with the whole project, we really looked at the marketing first, and I think that's probably one of the key things if you want to get into any type of enterprise. It makes sense to figure out your market first. The one word that probably pops into my mind is sustainable. If it's not sustainable, it's not worth doing, and what we're doing, I really feel is sustainable. I think that this farm can continue doing this year in and year out for the next generation to take over.
And that's the Klein family from Ohio. And Margaret, great story there. And there's a committee that the sheep industry has put together to help really talk about expanding even more sheep production. Share that with our viewers.
Yes, as we heard the Klein's comment in their video about the increasing their flock and whatnot.
Sure.
The sheep industry actually had both the woolen and lamb industries come to packers and mills come to us and say, we need to increase the inventory because we have more demand than we can meet. I think the interesting piece about this is that this committee that we've formed, not only did the U.S. sheep industry form a committee, the EU, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, those sheep industries also have similar committees to increase sheep production.
Mm-hmm. And Bill, you are saying that you see it right here in your area, I should say, in the southeast, expansion all over the place.
Oh, absolutely, Mark. According to USDA numbers, since the mid-1990s, sheep production has tripled in Tennessee. It's because of a lot of reasons, but really the highlight is because of the flexibility of sheep and how they fit in so many different operations. We had a local large grocery store chain come and decide that all lamb that they were going to merchandise was going to be locally produced lamb. And many other producers are finding how sheep can fit into their diverse operations.
Mm-hmm. And other advantages, Margaret, before we go to break here, that you talked about the less capital. Talk about that for us. Somebody say, maybe this makes sense for me. What would they want to consider, and why should they consider getting into sheep now, besides the price, but some of the other advantages?
A number of reasons. The less capital is a big one.
Sure.
Sheep are easy to handle. They complement any other agriculture that you're doing, whether it's coming into a cattle operation with sheep going in. Sheep and cattle will look at different species, so you can have, you don't end up impacting the lambs. Another area that is growing within the sheep industry is a targeted grazing program, where you actually use sheep not only for the production of lamb and wool, but to control invasive species, noxious weeds, for fire breaks, and all of those good things. So.
Yeah, my father-in-law, whenever he needed to break down some weeds in a grove, he would just get some lambs. I don't know if it was right or wrong, but it sure worked for him for all those years. He'd buy them, have them for 6 months, and I think you're talking about some of the same things on a wider scale. If you think about that around the country.
Oh, absolutely. People are being contracted to bring their bands of sheep in to clean up, to graze around a racetrack in California for fuel control, so that their reduction of fire.
And you mentioned, you mentioned California, the fire breaks.
Right.
Something I hadn't thought about, but that's another advantage, I'd say, another benefit that you wouldn't think about when you talk about sheep in the area.
Oh, absolutely. And along waterways, when you're thinking about controlling noxious weeds and using a chemical or using natural sheep grazing,
All right.
the better alternative.
Just getting a good start here on RFD TV Live with our friends from the American sheep industry, and could be a great opportunity for you and your operation to diversify. We're going to take our first break, come back and begin taking your telephone calls. We have more to share with some other videos from people around the country who have put sheep on their farms. Here is that toll-free number before we go to break. It's toll-free 877-731-6733. We have lines now open, ready for your calls to join us and ask Peter or Margaret or Bill a question that pertains to your operation. 877-731-6733. We'll take our first break and come right back. You're watching RFD TV, Rural America's most important network. And we're clear, I hope. Yeah, we are. Okay, we don't get to see the commercials in here.
So when do you decide to like shave the lambs and and then eat them, and is there a certain time like you use them all up for their wool and then you kill them, or is or is lambs just
90 seconds back.
Lambs are under a year of age, yeah, so they're going basically for the
But the ewes we shear every year.
And how long do they live?
Oh, they'll go 10 years back here in Bill's
Right out of the break.
every year.
Yeah, let's give the telephone number like it's written here in the script. We'll give the phone number again and ask for their calls, and then I'm going to introduce this piece